Welcome back to another rousing rendition of the starting lineup along with Kip Keefer. I'm Tony Curry. You never knew he was going to stop in. Head coach here, UAB Blazers, Alex Mortensen in the studio. Yeah, baby. Go ahead. Yeah.
You never know who's going to be in the starting lineup. This week it's Alex Mortensen. We're glad to have you.
The second biggest upset of the college football season.
How about that?
Well, it's credit to a lot of our players and coaches, but it was a really, really awesome win to a tough week.
Yeah. So tell me, what the hell did I just see? I mean, it was amazing because I heard Trent talk about we're not a bad football team. We're just not playing good football.
Right.
And you come in, you decide you're going to have a new game plan where you're going to slow things down. Obviously, Kitten was a little banged up, so you bring in this Ryder kid out of the blue, and next thing you know, you're winning against a 22nd ranked team. What happened inside the moment? What were you thinking?
Right. I think the first thing is, I mean, when we lost Trent, refocus everybody, because a lot of people were hurting. A lot of people were very close to him. A lot of people in our building loved him. So that was the first thing. We've got to get refocused. And so going into one, hey, everybody's got to get motivated, get on the same page. And we told them that one, you can get behind the team and get excited about our team goals. And the second thing is look at your individual goals too. Some of you want to play in the NFL. Some of you may want to go and let's call it for what it is. Some of you want to go into the transfer portal at some point, and some of you still want to be UAB Blazers. So if you fall into any of those three categories, the best thing for you to do is go play really hard. So we really started there just talking about the focus part of it. And then in terms of the football, you're asking about, our strategy going into the game. You mentioned, Jalen Kitten at one point I think he was second in the country completions per game. He was very high in completion percentage, having a really good year, but he got banged up in the FAU game the prior week. And so we ended up playing and starting Ryder Burton, who hasn't played a lot this year. We used him a little bit. And so we knew that going in the game. He had a very good week of practice. And then secondly, in terms of the game plan itself, we knew we were playing a really good team. A team that's undefeated, beat an SEC team, beat Arkansas, has won 28 of their last 33 games, ranked in the top 25. And as the offensive coordinator noticed, they have a very disruptive front and get people behind the sticks early. So our feeling was, one, on offense, we want to try to stay ahead of the sticks as much as possible, control the line of scrimmage, minimize negative plays so we can be in more favorable down and distances as we get, on second and third down. And then you also mentioned, too, can we shrink the game a little bit? Yeah. Play keep away, a little, and control the tempo game on offense. So,
and that only works now if you stay in front of the chains. And obviously, you only had 4 penalties, too. You had 10 the previous week, 14 the week before. So you did all the right things. It was amazing, too. And by the way, you got the bye week this weekend. You have UConn coming up 11 o'clock next week on the road. Are you glad you have a bye week or not?
I would say yes. I mean, this came as a shock to a lot of people. So this at least allows us to get organized, and we comes at a time where we do have some guys that need to get healthy as well. But as a staff getting organized in a unique situation, this does come at a good time.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think you hit on something I've been kind of preaching all year in this kind of era of all flash and not as much substance. Running the ball, and people get confused. You don't have to pile up 250 yards rushing if you can just effectively, like you said, concentrate your ground game, get 3 or 4 yards a crack, maybe 5 or 6 on a really successful play. That gives you a huge advantage in this kind of situation. And the more that gels, the team starts to believe more. And that was my impression of what happened. I thought your team's attitude throughout the game, I think they'd have been shocked if they'd have lost that game by the second half, because they were doing all the right things.
Our guys had great energy, enthusiasm, confidence, belief. I think you hit the nail on the head. Now the challenge is, okay, what if it's not going great? What if we don't start the game playing as well as we did? Are we still going to have the poise and the enthusiasm and energy to go compete the right way to get ourselves back into the game? That's now kind of our focus too, to be prepared for that. But yeah, no, I think all your comments about the running game and all those things are spot on.
Huge games on the way. You got North Texas coming up. You got South Florida, obviously, and how they started the season. You got Rice coming up. You got UConn next. And obviously, you got to go game by game now with this win under your belt. I thought it was hilarious. Everyone tweeting out the fact that you and Hugh Freeze now have the same number of top 25 victories, which I thought was fantastic. It's funny. So how do you approach your next game? You've got this one under your belt. You got some time to think about it a little bit, to celebrate, and now all of a sudden you got to get back to work. Is Ryder going to be your guy? How are you going to be moving forward? And obviously, we've been slinging the football all over the place. You did get 470 yards. He was 20-27 for 3 touchdowns, but and they've been winning football games that way too. But this slowdown approach may work too.
Well, I think every week you got to look at it and say, what does it take to win this game? And what does it take to win this drive? And that strategy made sense for that game. It may not make sense for the next game. And then, look, one of my old mentors used to always say, hey, it's a short trip from the penthouse to the outhouse. Okay, so, we're refocusing. We've got a lot of work to do. And as you point out, we have a lot of tough competition ahead. So that's really and truly, where our focus lies. And look, we love, our whole quarterback room. And we played Nate Rogers, through the course of the season in a role. We've played Ryder Burton. We've played Jalen Kitna. I think Jalen Kitna is a legitimate NFL prospect. Everyone got to see what Ryder's capable of. Our feeling is we want to be able to use all their talents and find ways to take advantage of each guy.
It used to be you had to be in the Final Four or the Final Two, depending on how you look at it. Now, of course, a group of 5 team gets in. It looks like we're going to 16 teams. I love the idea. We've always said, listen, if a group of 5 school like a UAB goes undefeated, they're doing everything they've been asked. They're going undefeated. Right. They should be rewarded with something, with a postseason outside just a bowl game, get a chance to play for a national championship. Talk about just the parity of what's going on in football right now. Indiana is the number 2 or 3 team in the country. Really? I mean, it's just crazy. But talk about the parity of what's going on right now. It's not just one team, but everyone else. No,
there's a tremendous amount of parity. Every school, obviously, at every level has different challenges. We have challenges. Every program has challenges. But I think about, I was at Alabama for 9 years. And in 2021, we played in a 4-team playoff. And in the first round of the playoff, we played a very, very good Cincinnati team. That Cincinnati team was in the American Conference, the same conference we're in. And they got into a 4-team playoff. So our feeling here has been, hey, if we can win the American and run the table here, surely we can find our way into a 12-team playoff at some point. So, that's I think that's the right way to approach it. If you're in this league, it's a very good league. And you look at some of the upsets that American teams have created this year.
I could see it in your eyes. For people who don't know, Alex, of course, is the son of the great Chris Mortensen. Can you just talk about him for just a moment? Because people are like, please ask him about his dad. I said, I want to ask him about Alex first. But yes, we'll certainly talk about your father.
Well, I was fortunate. I had a great dad. And I always say this, I know father-son relationships can be complicated. Some people don't know their father. Some people don't have a good relationship with their father. I fortunately hit the lottery and have had a great dad and mom, too. I had 2 great parents. So, I think everyone got to see, a lot of people, I shouldn't say everyone, but people that are sports nuts got to see him, in that light. But I was fortunate just to have him as dad, and he was awesome.
Coach, thank you so much, man. Appreciate your time. Go Blazers, and go get them next week, man. Thank you so much.
Folks, get out and support the Blazers. Coach Mortensen's got it going on down there. We need big crowds at the remaining home games, and let's get this season finished with a bang.
There you go. You're watching the starting lineup.
Hey, it's the legend from the Paul Bam Show, and I am live at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where there's a little piece of Vegas right here in Birmingham, baby. And this week we are changing roles. I am interviewing Keefer about the big games in the SEC. Keefer, baby. And the fans want to know this week, the great Keefer, how many teams in the SEC do you have making the playoffs, and who's on the bubble about to bust?
I think ultimately there's going to be 4 SEC teams in. If there's any less than that, it's robbery. The SEC is by far the most competitive league in the country this year. A lot of teams are beating each other, but I think a lot of teams are going to stay number.
Oh, we love it. We got big games this week coming off the bat. Right away, we got Ole Miss and Oklahoma on ABC at 11 o'clock. Who you like?
It's a huge game. Ole Miss looked unstoppable last week until they weren't anymore. They kind of melted down right at the end and lost to Georgia. I think this is a huge game for both these teams, Legend. I really think the team that loses this game is in a real jeopardy of being out. And that's a shame because I think these are 2 of the best 20 teams in the country.
Oklahoma, Ole Miss, a playoff game. Let's talk about a non-playoff game at 11:45. Arkansas and Auburn. Who you like?
Oh, man. I can categorically say neither of these teams is going to make the playoffs, and they'll be lucky if they can make it to the Birmingham Bowl. Arkansas can score points in droves. They can't stop anybody. And Auburn, I don't know what they can do well. They can play competitive teams, but they can't win. So how do you like a team in this game? I think Arkansas is going to put up points. Auburn's going to have to score with them against that bad defense. I have no idea. What do you think about that?
I say throw them up, whoever hits the ground first, gonna win. Hey, Alabama goes to South Carolina. Do you see it as a trap game, or does Alabama handle business this week?
I think they handle business, but I'm not going to give 12 or 13 points for those team in the SEC. As good as Alabama is, all four of these win streak games, which have been impressive, they've had some kind of tense moments in those games. Alabama's not rolling over everybody, and South Carolina's no patty cake either. So I really look for a closer game than what I would expect.
Hey, another playoff game this week. I can't believe I'm saying it, but a playoff game at 3 o'clock, Vandy in Missouri. Who you like? Game day down there this week.
I don't believe it, Missouri. I don't think they had 6 straight home games. They got out of number alive last week. I don't think they're that impressive. Vanderbilt, on the other hand, has got it going on. Diego Pavia playing at home. Missouri on the road for the 2nd straight week. I like the Commodores there because everybody keeps saying Missouri's a possible playoff team. This just in, they're not a playoff.
No, they're not. And Vandy, you ain't either. So let's talk about the last big game. We don't even go mention Texas. They don't deserve to be mentioned. But let's talk about the last big game. I'm talking LSU against undefeated A&M. Does Brian Kelly save his job, or does the Saint gets even hotter?
He's got to win this game. It's in Baton Rouge on a Saturday night. You've got to win this game. A&M is undefeated. They're rolling over everybody, but legend, they gave up 42 points last week at Arkansas. That's not good. They got to play better defense than that. Their offense does it going on.
This is the last stand for Brian Kelly and LSU. Give me the Bayou Bengals. They're going to put the A&M Aggies in the loss column.
Hey, you heard it right here at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino. A little piece of Vegas right here in Birmingham from the great Keefer. I'll get it out in a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go back to the show.
This is Terry Quillian. Welcome to Coach's Corner, where today I'm going to be talking about a group of people that are not coaches. So much is going on this week with coaches around the nation, with coaches being terminated like Billy Napier at Florida. We've got James Franklin at Penn State, and then a lot of calls for other coaches to be let go. But you know what nobody seems to want to talk about? And that's the folks who make those hiring and firing decisions, the athletic directors. And that's what really gives me a lot of pause. Okay, let's start with Florida and Billy Napier. So Florida seems to be on a run of having a new head coach every 3 years. At Florida, the athletic director is Scott Strickland, who is really beloved. He's considered such a great guy. He throws these great parties on Friday nights before the game. So when Scott came into that position, he inherited Jim McElwain, who he let go, but that wasn't his fault. He didn't hire him. But then he immediately hires Dan Mullen, which lasts for all of 3 years, and you get a $12 million buyout then. At the end of that 3 years, he goes out and hires Sunbelt Billy, whose big claim to fame was at Louisville. And the buyout that Florida is facing right now, Billy Napier, is $21.5 million, bringing the grand total of buyout money right now that Scott Strickland is responsible for to $33.5 million. When I question people about whether or not Scott Strickland is the right guy for the job, the answer I'm always given is, oh, but he's such a great fundraiser. Well, I guess he'd have to be a great fundraiser since you've got $33.5 million that you at the University of Florida are going to be paying coaches who are no longer coaching for you. But you know what? Scott's not an anomaly. Scott's a little bit more of the norm in terms of how this works. Let's take a look at another Scott. We got Scott Woodward at LSU, his alma mater. Okay, when Scott Woodward was at Texas A&M, he was responsible for the hiring of Jimbo Fisher, which, okay, that might have been okay, but the ridiculous contract that Jimbo Fisher got, which was 10 years, $75 million with a huge buyout. And that was in 2017. So in 2019, while Jimbo is still there, Scott leaves and he goes to LSU. He fires Coach O and he hires Brian Kelly, which I'm really questioning. Does anybody anywhere in the country think Brian Kelly was actually a good fit for LSU? He's certainly not a cultural fit there. So you've got Coach O's buyout. Wasn't that big of a deal. But then you've got Brian Kelly that LSU fans right now are really hollering for his scalp, yet you've got a buyout that's over $52 million for Brian Kelly there. But nobody's hollering about Scott Woodward. So at Texas A&M, he's responsible for the very expensive hiring of Jimbo Fisher. At LSU, he's responsible for the very expensive train wreck that is Brian Kelly. But nobody's calling for Scott's head. He's good in that job. And we've got one more example of it too. And that example would be Russ Bjork, who's currently sitting at Ohio State University, which I find just amazing. Okay, Scott Woodward was responsible for the initial hiring of Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M. But then, against all possible logic, just a couple of years into that contract, completely unnecessarily in 2021, he decides that he is going to re-up Jimbo Fisher to an even bigger contract that runs all the way through 2031. And he left Texas A&M with a price tag of $77.5 million to pay for that buyout. Immediately after doing that, guess what? He gets snapped up at Ohio State University. Oh my goodness. You're looking at the football landscape where as a coach you can fail, and your punishment for failing is that you get a buyout that ensures generational wealth for you, and the athletic directors that are responsible for the hiring and the firing, nothing happens to them either. They just, if anything, move upward. I got to tell you, I think it's a crazy system.
Big thanks to SPS, Southern Precision Staffing, 205-682-2828 for all your staffing needs. Your word, your handshake still means something. Kai, Gregory, and the guys, they are here for you, man, for your staffing needs. Check them out, 205-682-2828. SPS. It is Southern
If your
Precision
team is
Staffing.
banged up, you don't use that anymore. I like that line.
If your team is banged up, and also, of course, the Woodhouse Day Spa, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. If you're looking to perhaps make an addition, maybe add on a $200 million ballroom, you want to win some cash?
Yeah.
Maybe you do it with K4 Wins, my friend.
Yeah, I think that man on Pennsylvania Avenue checks that K4 Wins every single week.
Too.
He likes a good investment when he sees one. Of course, investing on the games is a lot of fun, but winning is a lot more fun, and we help you do that.
It really is. And when you're on the winning side, you actually enjoy watching football more. You do. And it's always fun to go down to a UAB game and actually have a little money on the game, or go to an Alabama or Auburn game, perhaps, even though they're not really good against the spread. But go make some cash. K4wins.com, K4wins.com. I always remember the Christmas seasons the last couple of years have been so good, because not only am I watching college football and all the bowl games, but I got some cash in my pocket while I do it. It makes the holidays
and in the
so much
freezer,
fun.
you've told us before.
Yes, yeah, cold, hard cash. Check out K4wins.com, K4wins.com.
Oh, welcome to the Legend Cave. Got the great Tony Curry, the great Keefer. We got our friend John hanging in. John, tell everybody who you are, brother.
John Hardival, love Alabama football, loves college sports, love to cover it, talk about it, and just love sports.
You can be anybody and be on the show.
We all
off the street, for God's sake.
If you're a fan, you're welcome here among the family, man. I mean, they took me in. They found me out in the street. I was out in the street with a sign saying, I want to be on a show.
He's still on the street. He's still on the street.
I'm still on the street. But hey, let's talk about Alabama. Tony, South Carolina today. I mean, I get nervous anytime Alabama's favored by 12 or 13 points on the road. Do I need to be nervous?
Game over to 13.5. I had South Carolina going to the playoffs this year. And, of course, Beamer says, hey, listen, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to Vodtech. Yeah. Coach, you're 3-4. Don't have to worry about leaving to go to Vodtech.
We're building a national championship
I don't think the Hokies are going to have anything to do with you. But this would save his, if he can knock off Alabama's 11-point dog. It's going to be a big game, and I think it's going to be close.
Kip, every game's a playoff game, but as old Coach B used to say, survive in advance. If Alabama just get out of there today with a win, that's all they need to do. Do you see a blowout, or do you see a nervous game here?
I said last week, you give me any SEC team at home with double digits, I got to go that direction. I don't like the game. I think Alabama can certainly win it, and I don't like what South Carolina's offense is doing trend-wise, but we know their defense has been depleted. So Alabama could blow them out, but I got to stick to my formula. I wouldn't bet the mortgage on that.
John, did you pay homage to the bear statue when you came into the cave? Did you pay homage?
Absolutely.
I saw him get
All right,
yeah,
I said
of course,
kick you out. I heard Barry back there saying, did that new guy, did he pay homage to me?
Yes, he did.
Did he pay homage, Tony? I gotta know, Coach DeBoer now in the black hoodie. I like that black
That's
tie.
right, Coach
And the
DeBoer.
black hoodie is dominating. Has the black hoodie had a special effect on him? Has he turned into Johnny Cash right before our
What
eyes?
we have found out is just like his underwear, he has not washed that thing since he started winning. So don't change the grippies and don't change the black hoodie, Coach. You're doing good.
Doing good. Kim, right quick, we got like 30 seconds. Is there a deal today where the Auburn Tiger, what, Bear? Bear said, don't forget that, Kip. Bear said, don't you dare mention Auburn up in here. Kip, is there a deal today where South Carolina can pull the upset?
I don't see them winning the game outright. I like Alabama, and Auburn, simply to quote the movie Jerry Maguire, is cloaked in failure.
Do you love Coach DeBoer?
Oh, he's a great coach.
All right.
He's a great coach.
All right. We
Great
love you, Coach DeBoer. Hey, remember, it's just a game. Don't be like the starting lineup. Sports Insane.
Here we go with another edition of the Vegas Heaters. I'm Case Keefer, longtime sports bettor and sports betting writer, along with assistant sports editor for Greenspun Media Group, which includes Las Vegas Sun and Las Vegas Weekly. Now, the last couple weeks, we've strayed from football. Some people will tell you you really need to specialize in one thing and only bet one sport to do your best. I've never gone with that. I like to have my hands a little bit in everything. I think there's opportunities everywhere, and I don't like to limit myself. So I'm going to keep trying to make this a little bit of a hodgepodge. Now, we gave NHL futures 2 weeks ago, at the start of the hockey season, NBA futures last week at the start of the basketball season. Let's touch on both of those sports before getting into the football and the bankroll plays. First, basketball. I'm recording right after Victor Wembanyama's historic debut in his third NBA season. The guy is the whole buzz of the NBA right now. So I'm going to go ahead and contradict something I said last week. I gave out Luka Doncic to win MVP at 5-1. Said I was just going to roll with that for the whole year. Well, forget about that. While I was watching Wemby tear up the Dallas Mavericks, what I was doing was scrolling through all my sports betting apps, trying to see if anyone left up the MVP, was asleep at the wheel a little bit, left those odds up. I did find 110-1. Super excited. I think that's a great price. Even if I didn't believe that this was the full breakout party, it doesn't matter because everyone else is saying it. He is going to be the talk of the NBA for a while. I know it has shot down a lot of places as I'm recording right now. I've seen it as high as 6-1, but I think if you can still get anywhere in that 5-1, maybe all the way down to 4-1 range, let's go forward with Wemby and Doncic. I think Nikola Jokic is still the best player in the world, but he's getting another age of his career. Usually when guys get this old, they're more obsessed with winning titles. They stop winning MVPs, so I'm willing to go against him. And even Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who I think is the best player in the MVP, I think he'll be resting a little more this year. The Thunder's so deep, and I think people won't want to give it to him 2 years in a row. So we are going forward with not only Luka Doncic now, but Victor Wembanyama to win the NBA MVP. I couldn't really find a single bet to talk about in the NHL, but I will say we built our whole portfolio around two teams here on the show, the Avalanche and the Lightning. The Lightning not looking so good early in the season, a little bit older team. They're not in the rhythm they were when they looked deadly at the end of last year. Ultimately, though, I'm not selling. I would just say hold. Don't keep betting them. Let's watch and see if they figure this out. The Avalanche, however, I feel so good about the bets we made on them. I would say buy more. The Avalanche look great. However you can back them. I know they've lost, I think, to the Mammoth and the Stars, two of the better teams in their division. So I'm still seeing their division price at like 2-1. The Jets also have a really good record, even though I don't buy into the Jets. I feel like they're getting saved some ways this year, so I love the Avalanche. Keep buying on the Avalanche. Finally, we'll get into football, the bankroll picks, where we're going to try to keep it rolling here. I've been going 2 NFL, 1 college most weeks. This week, however, let's go 2 college, 1 NFL. Now, I started this saying I wasn't really going to step on the SEC toes much and let all the other guys do that, but I think I've hit an SEC bet 3 weeks in a row, so let's go for a 4th one here. My first bankroll pick, I'm going to lay the 4.5 with Oklahoma hosting Ole Miss. Now, with apologies to Georgia, who Ole Miss did pile up the yards against. I don't think Ole Miss has seen any defense like Oklahoma's yet. We've seen year after year these Lane Kiffin teams, when something goes wrong, when they lose one game, it kind of starts the spiral downhill. I think there could be even more distractions now with him linked to the Florida job, which I think would be a great hire for the record. But I'm still just bullish on this Oklahoma team. Great defense. I think Mateer's only going to get better as that hand heals. Oklahoma minus 4.5, second college football game. I'm going to take +4 with Baylor heading to Cincinnati. The Bearcats getting all kind of love, and I just don't totally buy it. They gave up a whole lot of production to lowly Oklahoma State last week. Now, I know they still won by 3 or 4 scores, but I just think this defense is a little bit too overhyped. I don't fully trust the offense. That Baylor would have been a favorite this game at the start of the year, so give me Baylor +4. And finally, my NFL play of the week, Philadelphia -7 hosting the New York Giants. Yes, I know they lost 2 weeks ago, but they were a 7.5 or 8-point favorite in that game. Now a half-point diminished for the defending Super Bowl champions who got their offense right last week. Give me Philadelphia to go with Baylor and Oklahoma. That's the bankroll picks this week. And thanks for checking out Vegas Heaters once again.
Time to get that bankroll going here before we get to our crew here. And we have a special picker, Kai Gregory, Southern Precision Staffing. He likes Memphis over the 60 for the game. Memphis over 60.
Wow.
And he's taking Alabama -11 against South Carolina. I'm going to go ahead and go while I'm here. Iowa State minus the 2.5 against the undefeated BYU Cougars. I think BYU gets the first blemish of the year. They go 7-1 after Iowa State. They're going to go to Ames, knock it out, and win by 2.5. And I'm going to take them Cincinnati Bearcats -3. Buy it down to 3. Cincinnati Bearcats -3 against a Baylor squad this weekend. I'm going to put 75 on each of those. Legend, what you got?
Well, the Legend brothers are 7-1 over the last 3 weeks.
Pretty good.
We have been on fire, and we're coming back with you with another 2-team parlay. We like Alabama minus the 6.5 in the first half. The South Carolina, we think Alabama will be leading big at halftime. And we also like Ole Miss plus 5.5 as it is right now. I just looked on Vegas line.
Okay.
Plus 5.5 at Oklahoma. We think the wrong team is favored. We think Ole Miss wins outright. And David Legend wants you to know that BYU has been covering all year.
Well, Memphis was 6-0 before they played that UAB juggernaut too, by the way.
Yeah,
so
right,
they were number one against the
David Legend,
spread. Look at you going first. Look at him going first half spread. You know what the hell a first half was when we started this show. Now he's doing first half bets on this show. What are you talking about?
I've been learning.
What are you talking about? What do you got there, Kip?
I think the magic carpet ride for the Texas A&M Aggies comes slamming shut in Baton Rouge on a Saturday night. LSU's been unimpressive, but their back against the wall. Brian Kelly cannot lose this game. I think the vibes down there, I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to be on the seismic meter, but I like LSU to knock the Aggies off. They gave up 42 points at Arkansas last week, and we're lucky to get out of Fayetteville alive. And I've got to go against the Legend brothers. I watched that Ole Miss defense. They still haven't stopped Georgia. It's a week later.
It is pretty bad.
It was really bad last week.
Golden.
8 drives. Yeah. Sing your song. Pete Golden to the rescue.
Pete Golden to the rescue.
Yeah.
Thank you, Georgia. Thank you, Georgia.
8 possession for Georgia, 8 scores. I'm taking Oklahoma. I just don't think this Ole Miss defense is a championship defense. And we've got our guest picker, John Hardival, who's going to give us his wisdom on these games. What are your pearls of knowledge, Mr. John?
Absolutely. I hate to go against Tony here, but I'm going with BYU. Too much disrespect to be minus 2.5. I think they're going to go on and win that game. And then also, I like Auburn to pull it out. I like Auburn to go up to Arkansas and win that game and pull it out.
Interesting game there that Auburn was favored by 1.5 and then switched and went 3 points in the
now
direction.
Arkansas.
So they're actually the dog in the game.
Another team that has absolutely no defense.
Well, Vegas was notified
if Auburn can get it going, it's
still coach.
And after this weekend, they may not have anything to play for.
If Auburn can't get it going this weekend, then
oh boy,
no doubt. Go get it, man. We got college football all day long right here on ABC 3340. We only preempt.
Oklahoma Ole Miss next kicks us off.
That's right. Oklahoma, that's going to be a monster game. Enjoy your wonderful weekend. Make sure you check out K4Wins.com. And thanks for watching the starting lineup.
We have liftoff of Season 9 of The Morning After. Terry Quillian and Kip Keefer at the controls. Bowley going where no football show has gone before.
Hipster, are we there yet?
On our way, Ter. Definitely on our way.